Welcome back to Taival Outdoors. My name is Joel, and today we are in my gear room Varusto because I want to share with you all my top 10 items for hiking and backpacking. This is not some 10 C's of survival type of a video, but instead these are 10 items that I'm taking on almost all of my outdoor trips, almost regardless of the season as well, all year around. I've had most of these for many years. I found them to be durable, good value for money, and generally speaking, just doing the job that they're supposed to do very well. This is also not a list of absolutely the best items in these categories, but instead, I hope that this video gives you guys some ideas that maybe some of these items, or at least the category of item, is something that maybe you should also look into. Maybe you should think if this would be a better option for something that you already have, or if you're just starting out, maybe some of these items could be something that you want to save some money for and get the stuff that actually works instead of the stuff that's just cheap. At least for me personally, I wish I had gotten some of these items a bit earlier before I had already spent money to other similar items that did not last or did not perform as well, and so forth. So that said, and keeping all of that in mind, let's start with number one, which of course has to be my DD Hammocks 3x3 tarp. In this one bag, I have the tarp itself. I've replaced all the guy lines with paracord, and I have, I think, 8 good pegs or stakes in here as well. Much sturdier than the ones that came with the tarp originally. I've heard some people have had issues with the original PU coating flaking off due to many years of use, probably mostly due to the fact that people have been using it during summer and the sun and UV radiation can be pretty brutal. But for me, that hasn't been an issue. It's still going strong, it's still waterproof, and this is still my favorite shelter all year around. I really enjoy tarp camping. I feel like I'm getting much closer to nature. I hate crawling inside a tent just to sleep and carry all the stuff just to sleep, but this gives me a lot more flexibility and freedom. So that is why DD Hammocks tarp in the size 3x3 meters has been the winner for me. If ever this tarp breaks or the PU coating fails, I will probably get the same thing again, but maybe the ultralight version, assuming that it is as durable as this normal version is. That might be a nice small little upgrade. But anyway, I'm not seeing this one failing anytime soon, so I'm happy with this. Number 2, basically anything from To Go Systems. This is a small company in US, and I got their product called Trifecta version 2 maybe 6 or 7 years ago. That item is roughly identical to this in terms of packaging. It's something that can be used as a tarp or a bivy bag, and it has a reflective layer inside of it. That's kind of the main trick of To Go Systems gear. And Trifecta version 2 is now actually living in our car all the time, kind of as an emergency shelter type of a setup. After that, I got this. This is To Go Systems Velar UL. Same idea, except that this cannot be opened up fully to be used as a tarp. This is just a bivy bag, but as you can see, it goes to a bit smaller package, so I kind of upgraded to this one, if you will. And then finally, a couple of years ago now, I bought To Go Systems BOB Zip Poncho, and this is made of exactly the same Tyvek material, and this can be used as a poncho, as a shelter, and as a bivy bag as well. So it's a bit more multi-purpose, but of course, if you are using this as a poncho, as your kind of only rain gear during very hot, like mid-summer, July time frame, I would probably not recommend doing that because the reflective material inside can get a bit too sweaty during hot summer days. But definitely later on in the fall, I like the idea of having kind of bivy bag and a poncho in one. So that's why I've been using this, and then other times Velar UL. And as you can tell, the package starts to be quite beaten up, so I'm definitely been using this a lot. But I can highly recommend To Go Systems stuff. I might be wrong about this, but I believe I was the guy who kind of introduced To Go Systems to a wider audience in Finland. Not sure. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not, but at least at the time when I got the Trifecta version 2, I had not seen anyone in Finland using those things or even discussing about To Go Systems. But now apparently some people do carry To Go Systems gear on their person here when backpacking and hiking and so forth, so that's kind of funny. Number 3, still talking about sleep systems, I wanted to highlight one of my sleeping bags. This is RAB or RAB, I think it's pronounced RAB, Ascent 300 XL. And why this out of all of my sleeping bags? Well, the reason is that this is roughly 0 degrees or 1 degree down bag, which means that it is good for 3 seasons here in Finland. And being down, it packs down to incredibly small package and it's very lightweight. And I believe I got it from a very good deal as well back in the day. I think this was one of the items that I wish I had gotten earlier. I was a bit scared about down and how well it will fare in kind of Finnish weather. It can be very rainy and wet a lot of the time. But then I sort of started using these bivy bags to kind of help alleviate that issue, because remember, I'm mostly tarp camping, so I'm more exposed to the elements than just sleeping inside a tent. So I have a tarp and I have a bivy bag, which also, thanks to the reflective liner, increases the warmth of this bag, and then a light down bag inside the whole system. And this setup has been working extremely well. And if there's one item that I would recommend younger Joel to invest in, it would be a decent 0 degree down bag, because of just the versatility and the fact that this is the bag I've slept by far most nights in, because it's good in the spring, during summer, and during late, even late autumn as well, when paired with a bivy bag. So it is a good setup that can be used a lot, so that's why it made the list. Number 4 is again kind of a group of items which have absolutely changed the way I pack my stuff, and that is dry bags that have some sort of a valve or a hole where you can get the excess air out. And thanks to having these bags, I actually had to get a smaller rucksack. I used to have Berghaus Crusader, which had the capacity of, I think, 110 liters. And I kind of downgraded, at least in terms of size, to Everly stock little big top that has the capacity of roughly, I think it's 65 liters, something like that. And that's mostly thanks to just using these bags, where you can put things like your sleeping bag, your change of clothes, whatever. Even food I do carry inside of these bags. I have a couple of examples here. This is military surplus Marine Corps stuff sack, I believe it's called. I do have a small review on my channel on this. I managed to snag 2 of these from Varusteleka when they had these a couple of years ago. Super useful, durable, waterproof bags. Then I have a couple of bigger Expert Endura bags. But these are so heavy duty that I try to avoid these if possible, but I think I do use this black one for winter sleeping bag. It's just the right size for that. But for this whole bag, and remember this is the size XL because I'm a taller guy, it fits easily inside this. You've seen it on many of my videos if you've watched any of my videos, to roughly this size. And just the ability of getting that excess air out, plugging the hole, and it takes so little amount of space from the rucksack. It's completely changed the way I pack things. And yeah, definitely look into these kind of backpacks. Even if it has just a hole, it's still a really good system. But if you find something that has kind of one-way valve, that's even better. These tend to be quite pricey, again, depending on where you get them and from what manufacturer, what brand. If you go for something like Exped or Ortlieb, those can get quite expensive. I'm talking about up to maybe 50 euros per dry bag, at least the bigger sizes. So, you know, it is an investment, but if you can get something for cheaper, like I got these ones and so forth, I think they are then worth it in the end for sure. At least for me, have been a game changer. A bit of an unusual thing to see maybe on a list like this, but for me, absolutely essential items. We've talked about shelter, sleep system, and so forth. Let's switch up gears a bit. This is Katahdin Hiker Pro. And this is my water filtration system. As you just saw, it's quite a big bag with all of these hoses. There's the outlet hose in its own clean bag. A little sponge to clean up the filter. So this is a good sized hand pump filter with the carbon insert in it. So it does filter out maybe the taste. And why I go with something like this with a good handle and pump is because this is reliable. This is quite fast compared to anything smaller like Sawyer Squeeze or anything like that. I have Sawyer Squeeze or Sawyer Mini, can't remember which one, but it's such a pain in the butt to use and it is very slow. It always clogs up and everything. So this does the kind of the majority of my water purification for me. Of course, in Lapland up north, I don't carry this around at all. And during winter, then I tend to melt snow and boil it and so forth. And I do boil water if that's a possibility and if I have the extra fuel for it and so forth. But especially during summer, it's nice to have a good pump filter because then you don't have to drink that freshly boiled warm or hot water after a long day of hiking. You can just pump straight from a lake or a stream or a pond or whatever and get cold and refreshing clean drink. I believe it doesn't filter out viruses, but those are not really a big deal here in Finland where I'm usually backpacking. So that's something to keep in mind. If you are worried about viruses in your area, then boiling is the way to go, really. I do carry backup tablets as well, but again, they taste like crap and it takes forever for those to work. So Katahdin Hiker Pro. A bit pricier item. I wondered for a long time if I should invest in this or not. Am I going to use it? I've been managing just fine without it. But then I got it, started using it, and realized that, you know, it was definitely worth the investment and worth the kind of extra bulk. And you can have bigger items like this in your backpack when you have the good stuff sacks that you can compress your other items and then make room for something like this if you don't have that already. So Katahdin Hiker Pro definitely has been stable in my kit for quite some time now. Segueing super smoothly to the next item on the list. This is Kupilka's big kuksa made out of this I don't know, weird synthetic material, which is in the end quite nice looking and it feels quite nice and especially quite durable. At first, I was very skeptical about something like this because I wondered that if I'm going to get like a kuksa, I want it to be a proper item, maybe as something that I get as a present or something that I buy on my trips to Lapland or something. So I was skeptical about the product. I got it in a Sasta 64 Degrees Wild event a few years ago. It was a kind of a group hiking event. You had to pay an entrance fee, and with that fee, you also got this kuksa to go with it. And started using it during that event, and then also later on, or actually right after the event, I went on a longer hike in Lapland to Urho Kekkonen National Park, used it over there as well, and I realized that this is really good stuff. I think it looks okay. It's definitely durable, easy to clean, and it doesn't feel plasticky. It's a strange material. Not exactly sure what it is that it's made out of, but the point I want to highlight with this one is that if you get a drinking cup, get something that is big. Then you can also eat from it. This is where I'm eating my morning porridge, my morning oatmeal, for example, and then drinking coffee from it afterwards. And compared to what's very popular, the canteen cup system. Those cups, while nice and have good volume, pain in the butt when you try to clean them. But this big wide mouth, good opening, it's basically a mini bowl. So yeah, very easy to clean, easy to eat out of, easy to drink out of. A big, good cup is really nice to have, I think. Multi-purpose, and this material is super durable as well. So yeah, Kupilka Kuksa in the bigger size. Continuing with the kind of theme of drinking and eating, this is actually two items that I want to include in this list. So first of all, in this bag that used to be orange, but now, as you can tell, it's quite heavily used, and the color is changed accordingly. This is Toaks titanium pot, size 1.1 liters with a bail handle. First of all, 1.1 liters, perfect size for 1 or 2 persons, assuming you are mostly just boiling water with it. Number 2, bail handle, absolutely essential. Most cups don't come with this, but this did, and that was kind of the main reason I went with this size, to be honest. And third, of course, being titanium, it is lightweight. And I guess as a happy accident, I could fit everything else in my cook system inside this one pot as well. One thing that I have to mention, Toaks pots used to come with these super annoying and basically useless lids that simply do not sit very nicely on the pot. I'm not sure if they've fixed this system, but yeah, even as brand new, it didn't really sit properly there, and definitely doesn't sit properly anymore. But yeah, Toaks titanium pots, absolutely essential. With me almost all year round, except in the deep winter, middle of the winter when I'm melting snow, then I take the full Trangia kit because of the volume that it can handle. Inside of that pot, there was indeed my full cook kit, and what makes the heart of my cook kit is this Trangia Triangle. Super simple, quick to set up. And then you will just drop your Trangia burner inside, and there you have your whole cooking system. I'm forever grateful to the friend of mine who recommended me this Trangia Triangle years and years ago. And yeah, been using it a lot, goes to so small space, and I'm definitely a guy who enjoys using the kind of traditional Trangia burner. I know a lot of people are kind of not a fan of these things anymore because I guess they're a bit big and bulky. People are using gas stoves a lot, but I don't like the gas stoves. This is reliable all year around for me. Gas stoves are not. And the main issue I have with the gas stuff is just the incredible noise that they make. I don't want to hear that when I'm out there enjoying nature. This is a silent burner, and it works for me just fine. This setup does require windscreen, but I made my own out of aluminum foil, and yeah, that does the trick. So Trangia Triangle, absolute essential again. And of course, I couldn't make this list without mentioning my kit bag. So this is Hill People Gear original kit bag version 2, I believe. Right up here, so it's kind of a chest bag, and it holds a tourniquet, all my navigation stuff, so usually my GPS, map, Leatherman, ways to make fire, actually a couple of ways to make fire, notepad, snacks, emergency kind of blanket, for example, bug spray during summer, so forth. So kind of like useful little items. Why I like this is the fact that I never have to pack any of these important little items again, or lose them in any, pockets of my jackets or pants or whatnot. I can always just take this kit back. It's already stocked. It has everything that I need. I need to just kind of add the correct map here, and then I can go on my merry way, and I know that I have the important stuff with me all the time. And the advantage is that when I do go on hikes, I open this up, I have a map here in a waterproof case that I can quickly reference, then close it up, put it back here, and so forth. So I've been using Hill People Gear kit bags. This is now my second kit bag from them, again, for many years. And hopefully I get some other kit bags or similar chest packs to be tested very soon. So look for those reviews up on the channel as well. So definitely couldn't imagine doing hiking or backpacking without these kind of systems anymore. These are just so handy in my opinion. And that kind of leads us to the last item on this list. Of course, I could highlight many of these items that are inside this kit bag, but this is Suunto MC2 compass. And I want to highlight specifically this out of all the other stuff that's priced in here, is that it took me a couple of years to convince myself that I could do with a better compass, like a high quality compass. This Suunto stuff is very expensive, but damn, do they make good compasses. I had like a cheap little 5-10 euro compass before this, saved up a bunch of money, got myself Suunto MC2, and I have not regretted it. It has everything that you need built in. It has a mirror, which is good for, of course, using the compass if you want to use it like so. It can be used for signaling. It can be used if you have, let's say, some kind of trash or something in your eye. It's very hard to remove that in outdoor environment without a good mirror. So I can use this to clean up my eye or whatever, my face, if there's something going on. It has built-in kind of the declination system, glow in the dark, magnifier glass, can be used to measure distances on the map and everything else. So really, and thanks to the way it's designed, it kind of protects itself. So I'm assuming that this will still last me for many, 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 many years to come. So good piece of kit. I think if you are serious about going outdoors, you should learn how to do land navigation, and you should get a good compass to do the land navigation with. Maps are free to get online, but unfortunately, good solid compass is still something that you need to invest a bit more and get it from a good brand. Personally, I of course recommended Suunto. I know a lot of people recommend Silva as well. So yeah, I guess that's just as good as Suunto. Get whatever, but make sure that you know how to use it and that it is a good quality stuff. What I've shown so far is gear that I've purchased with my own money, that I've been using for years, so I know what I'm talking about, and therefore I'm a bit hesitant to bring up this final kind of bonus product or a honorable mention, if you will. I very recently got sent these things, and you might be asking, Joel, what the heck are those? These are waterproof rain mittens for adults by a Finnish company called Northern Lights. And I'm bringing these up for two reasons, and none of those reasons stem from the fact that I got sent these for free. Okay, let's make that absolutely clear. I have no obligations of sharing anything about this, saying anything about this, good or bad, whatever. That out of the way. Number one, they're made by a small Finnish company. I think they deserve more attention than they're getting at the moment. Number two, because these are so incredibly lightweight and they pack into such a small size, I don't think there's any reason for me to not pack these and take these along on my trips where I'm expecting any type of rain. So if I'm packing a poncho, I'm definitely packing these things with me as well, because they take no space whatsoever. So therefore, the kind of will be included among these products simply due to the fact that I'm going to always be carrying these, because these weigh nothing, take no space whatsoever from the backpack, and because I am a guy who uses a poncho, these are good because the poncho comes, you know, up here or something like that, depending on your arm length and so forth. Good rain meters are something that I actually had not even thought about. I had like Gore-Tex gloves, but Gore-Tex can get warm during summer, we all know that. These are quite spacious, so I can actually run these like this without any undergloves. And then I would imagine that during autumn later this year, when wearing these, I can have like gloves or thin gloves, and then put these on and I will be good to go. Little rubber band there to cinch it down around your wrist, and another loop in here, which you can of course use to hang it from your wrist, so you can take them off and then you are not losing them and then putting them back on. Familiar stuff, if you've ever used a good pair of winter mittens, for example, they tend to have these similar loops in them. Mine are size large, something I definitely recommend for guys at least. Go big or go home. And Northern Light, made in Finland. I mean, very interesting product, and I hope I will find these to be durable as well. Of course, I cannot vouch about that just yet. I only got these around 1 or 2 months ago, and I've been through just one rainstorm with these on, and they did perform just fine. I had no issues whatsoever with this, so at least the rainproofness is or waterproofness is something that I can attest to and say that it does do the job. But yeah, just wanted to highlight a small Finnish company here at the end. Take it as you will. Links to all of these products will be in the description. Go check them out. Hopefully you got some ideas. And if you have any further questions about these products or any of my hiking gear, just hit me up in the comments and I'll be more than happy to answer you guys over there so everyone can see the questions and replies that way. So, yeah, I think that's all for today. So you've been watching Taival Outdoors. Let me know what you think about this stuff. My name is Joel. I'm glad you made it all the way until the end of the video, and I will see you all in the next one.